The backstory of my guest parallels that of many men and women serving time in prison and those committing the senseless crimes we hear about in the news. Raymond Mowla's journey is a wonderful reminder that no one is beyond the reach of God's love and redemption. Raymond, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, what a story. Let us start at the very beginning. Middle child in a home in Mississauga, a Muslim home.
Yes.
Parents are Muslims.
Yes.
And you say it was a conflicted home life. What do you mean by that?
Well, my parents weren't devout Muslims. It was mostly a tradition that was just passed down and they wanted to adhere to for those reasons. So although we had religious ceremony, they weren't practicing fully Islam. And because of that, there were many things that transpired in my home, just with the way that they disciplined us and their approach to that made it difficult to be able to voice, things that were going on inside of me, and feeling that safety and that comfort to be able to do that.
Now, God to you was Allah.
That's right.
And you did, at a very early age, put two big questions out there.
That's right. I came to this place where I was just not sure anymore that Allah could be God, and so I said, if you're real, if you really exist out there, and you're gonna have to make yourself known to me. I don't know how else I'm gonna find you, because in the midst of all these different religions I heard about and I knew existed, I knew I didn't have the time to study every single one of them and to come to know Him in that way. So I was asking Him really to reveal Himself to me.
And a concern about hell.
That's right.
Must have heard about that somewhere.
Absolutely. My mom used it actually quite a few times in trying to discipline us in school.
As a threat?
As a threat,
Oh.
And so
Okay.
I definitely was familiar with the existence of this place, but I had no idea what it was about.
Today you can identify this seeking as a desire for God's love.
That's right.
Don't
That's
you
right.
know
I
that?
look back and I realized that that's what I was really searching for.
Now, where we go from here isn't pretty. In fact, you made a decision that one of my siblings made, that if you can't be a shining star excelling at everything, you'll be the troublemaker.
That's right.
You'll gain distinction by negative activity.
That's right.
You did pretty well. Expelled from grade 10. Diverse criminal record, drugs, alcohol. At age 16, you were in provincial jail for
right.
auto theft.
Yes.
Should we go right to December 2004?
Sure.
Am I going too far, too fast?
No, that's fine.
You stabbed a man 9 times in the chest.
That's right.
Thank God he lived.
By the grace of God, yes, absolutely.
What was that about, Raymond?
It was a culmination of things. By this point in my life, I was already so far away from Islam and not even trying to adhere to those teachings that I was brought up with. I was living a very rebellious life. Like you mentioned, that by 16 I had already served time inside a provincial jail, and I was getting to this place where I was giving up on life. I didn't have a concern for myself, and therefore not for others either. And this just happened to be kind of an evening where all these things worked together. There was alcohol, I was intoxicated, there was an event where someone caused an offense that I acted on, and it ended up almost leading to him losing his life.
Aggravated assault instead of murder charge. And prison time, 6 months, which was the minimum, I understand.
2 years. 2 years was the sentence, sorry.
Did you serve only 6?
No.
I got confused. You did 2 years.
2 years was the sentence to make it a federal sentence. It's the minimum for a federal sentence.
Okay.
But after just over a year, that's when I got paroled.
Some unusual things happened here. You had a job, an IT job, where you were behaving irresponsibly on company time and with company materials.
Yeah.
And yet you discovered in the midst of this very complex chapter that your boss was very gracious with you.
This was something I was experiencing again and again throughout my life, where I would almost get these opportunities to experience the grace, but never knowing. I don't think I even knew that term back then about unmerited favor, but yet I continued to see it throughout my life. I know I didn't deserve, even being a high school dropout, this position I was given, and then the opportunities that came through that, but I continually saw this, and it made me question, like, is there someone orchestrating the things behind my life? Because how is this possible? How could this happen?
I think of those requests sent heavenward as just a young boy, 10-year-old. God was answering.
Yeah.
And yet you had a built-in self-destruct. You would not allow yourself to succeed. And that's a tragic consequence of the things we absorb in a difficult childhood.
Definitely, but at the same time, I think that as much as I tried to succeed, I was aiming for perfection, and again I felt like I fell short of that, and so it was always that decision I made in any of those opportunities to, I can't be the best at this, so why not just go the opposite way?
Now this former employer, whose surprising endorsement of you, which was a real stretch, I won't get into some of the things you were up to, it's in the book. What did that allow you to do
Actually,
as an ex-con?
it gave me the opportunity, first of all, to have an extensive period before serving my sentence while I was out on bail, because it gave me the opportunity to go to college, something that I never anticipated I would ever do. I don't even think my family thought I was ever going to go to college. And so because of this, this particular thing that he wrote on my release form, it gave me the opportunity to go get funding as well as the opportunity to go to college to pursue network specialist program.
Somewhere in this season of your life, a cousin who is a Christian took you to church.
That's right.
That was an eye-opening experience.
Yeah. They've actually been such a shining example to my faith since I came to know Christ, of going in and reaching out to people that nobody else wanted to reach to, because that's where I felt like I was in that particular part of my life. A lot of people were drawing away from me. I was on charge for this heinous crime, and they came to me and came offering hope, really, and invited me out to church.
And learning about the sinfulness of man. Now, you wouldn't think that would be the message you'd be excited about. You truly were excited to learn this.
I had never heard a teaching like this before of original sin, and it just began to make sense of my worldview for the first time ever. I was able to see how this was inherent in everyone, even though it may be in different ways, but it was definitely there, and it was something I could identify that I was hearing the truth.
Now, at this point in our storytelling, we move into all the wonderful things that God does in a life. That is not your story. In fact, it went the other way.
Yeah, I spent the next 7 years after coming out, serving my sentence, believing that that was the pinnacle of the worst I could possibly do. I figured life can only go up from here. What did I need God still for, or at least church still for? And so I decided, I was going to try to do this on my own.
2007, you were out on parole.
That's right.
You say, I was a criminal, a drunk, a pothead with anger problems, fears, lusts, and depression. You began to see the whole world as a prison.
That's absolutely right. By the time of around 2012, I even got a tattoo put on my back that said, "Stone walls do not make a prison, nor do iron bars make a cage." And I guess it was very, it spoke to how I felt inside. It described the inner turmoil within me, because I thought that getting out of prison, and I think that's what a lot of inmates thought, that once you get out of prison, you were free. And here 7 years had gone by, and I realized I was never more any more free than I was when I was incarcerated.
God doesn't waste anything, and He never stopped working in your life. And when we come back, it's going to get darker before it gets bright. An amazing story. Raymond isn't leaving. Don't you leave either.